There's a reason God said my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And just like the devil knew scripture back when he tempted Jesus, he knows scripture when he's going to tempt you. So if God told us that his people would perish for a lack of knowledge, doesn't that give you the ultimate scheme of when he says that the devil's job is to kill, steal, and destroy? The only way that he can do that is through a divide and conquer tactic that comes through a lack of knowledge. If he can get you into a state of comfortable ignorance, it's one thing when you acknowledge your ignorance. The word ignorant means to lack knowledge. If he can get you into a state of where you think you know so much, or you're so hyper-focused on one issue that you forget to look for the solution, now there's a bigger problem, an eternal problem. For the longest time in my life, after coming to Christ, I say about the first year, I struggled with my flesh. I struggled majorly, maybe even more than a year, dang near 2. Gave my life to Christ at the end of 2021. I didn't fully start walking till the back end of 2023. And it was all because my flesh was my focus. How do you gain knowledge on how to fight something that you continue to set your eyes on? I'll give you an example. 4 years of my life was dedicated to Division I college football. I spent 2 years at Ole Miss playing the SEC, and I spent the next 2 in the Sun Belt at Georgia Southern. When we had an opponent coming up on a Saturday, I spent that week studying film. But when I wasn't studying film, the majority of my time was spent practicing on my craft. The majority of my time was spent developing my skills that I needed to be equipped for when game day came. Only about an hour or so out of my day was dedicated towards knowing what the opponent was doing and what the opponent wanted to make happen. But the majority of my time was spent developing me. How do we develop ourselves if we continue to focus on what the enemy is putting in front of us? If Satan keeps putting your lust issue in front of you, you'll never figure out how to sharpen the disciplinary tools necessary to stop lusting. If he continues to make you feel like a failure and you focus on that one aspect of your life, the fact that you didn't get the job, the fact that you didn't finish school, the fact that you went back to that man when you said you wouldn't. If you continue to focus on that, you'll never be able to come out of it. Contrary to popular belief, there's a way to get out of quicksand, and I'm going somewhere when I say this. When you get caught in quicksand, the way that you continue to sink is if you stress. You try to will your way out of it. The only way that you can get out of quicksand is to first relax. The enemy wants you to do the exact opposite. He's like quicksand. The more that you relax, the easier it is to get out of the matrix of darkness. But the more that you try to will your own way through it, you step outside of God's will. And when he says cast your cares upon the Lord and he'll sustain you, there's no sustainability in casting your cares upon yourself. That's how you get cast into the lake of fire. But a lot of people still find this difficult. So what God had for me to do was create an ebook. In the online generation, people don't like to purchase hard copies. So hey, the internet it is. Also, a lot of people don't carry their physical Bible with them. Sometimes I still struggle with that. But whatever emotions that you deal with are inside of there. Discouragement, depression, anxiety. Although it's not the only temptation, lust is also featured. There's a lot of things we can be tempted to, y'all. Temptation is not just narrowed down to the realms of sexual immorality, although that is very prevalent. But there's gateways that lead to moments like that come from childhood traumas, neglect, abandonment. So many things that we're tempted to long before we find ourselves committing what society deems as the bigger sins. And you gotta be able to fight back with the word. So if you click the link in my bio, you should find some stuff that's worth talking about. Find some stuff that's worth learning, because it didn't really come from me. It was stuff that God gave me during a time of desperation. I didn't know how to fight back with the word. But then after I read Luke chapter 4 and saw when Jesus was tempted, that all he did was fight back with the word, I was more interested in how I should do that. So I found scriptures. I studied the opponent. And I also learned how to sharpen my tools. Don't hyper-focus on the issue. Lock in on the solution. But tap in with that and let me know what you think. It's changed my life drastically. I wouldn't be standing before you today as who I am if it wasn't for me learning that one thing that I just talked to you about. Sincerely. God bless you.